to set the intro video. We don't have an intro video, everyone. Hello. Welcome back, sisters. Let's connect. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever, which I don't like. Um, but we are back. We will be back this week and next week for some amazing conversations. I have none other than my Venezuelan sister, Hermana. You'll hear all my Spanglish tonight.
Yeah.
I spoke Spanish for like 30 minutes in Venezuela for the year I lived there. But tonight, seriously though, I wanted to make sure I know that officially it is over and that it ended the other day. But we can technically still celebrate it because that's why it was no longer a week, that they made it a whole month so that we have time to make parties every week and reasons to eat Latin food. I don't know. Let me get an arepa while we're at it. But Nathalys is not only just my friend, she is a powerful woman of God. She has so many things that we're going to talk about with her own business, what she's done. We were both educators in Venezuela. Nathalys is proof that I was there living with the people.
Yes. Yes, she was.
I was in the quote unquote trenches every now and then. But yeah, I want to thank you for being on here, Nathalys, and to let people know a little bit about who you are. I'll read your professional bio so people can know I didn't just meet you from off the street. Nathalys has more than 9 years of experience leading programs, facilitating discussions, and executing initiatives that promote well being, equity, and inclusion. So she is like the go to person for me when it comes to DEI and all that other stuff they done made up. But, anyways, her background also includes assisting international survivors of trauma, immigrants, and refugees, delivering care services for high risk foster youth and their families, providing professional education and training services. I'm going to skip a little bit. She got all these degrees and stuff in English and French. I didn't even know that dialects and all that stuff yet. But anyways, she's also a certified yoga instructor, which is why she's dressed so cool tonight. She just finished her uh,
Free
yoga
class.
session, right? What was it called?
The free Friday classes.
Yeah, your free Friday classes that I need to enroll in. And she's the founder of, how do you pronounce your business? Because I feel like I say it wrong every time.
Sosiego.
Sosiego. So obviously that means something that we're going to talk about. And yeah, with this business, she organizes workshops and clinics and personalized services and group retreats. And I need to go on one of those group retreats. And maybe you should have one in Georgia. So without further ado, let's welcome Nathalys. How are you, sis?
Thank you. Well, as you mentioned, I just finished the class, so I'm feeling pretty good right now, pretty relaxed.
Like I'm very relaxed.
Yeah. Happy to see you and be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Hello, Instagram. I just realized I really wasn't live on Instagram, so I'm sorry, you guys. We've been talking for a minute. Um, yes. So, anyways, like we were saying, we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. We know the week has officially is over, but we are going to celebrate because it's a whole month, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's tell us a little bit about your journey outside of your bio, Nathalys, on who you are and how you have come to America, really, because you're Venezuelan.
Yeah. So I think it's important that I highlight a few things that I'm both Hispanic, but I'm also Latina, and I'm also an Afro Latina, which is, I really like to kind of put that little thing there because oftentimes when we think of Latinos, we box all of us in one space, but we all are very mixed. And my heritage is Afro. Um, I was in Venezuela my whole life. I was born and raised there. But But then towards my teenager years, I remember my family always really wanting to come to the US. I had a dad, or I still have a dad. He's a dancer and he travels a lot. So I kind of grew up in that environment where my parents were traveling a lot, and that always instilled in me that desire to travel and explore. And I mean, it's kind of odd to think about it now as an adult, but I think with a lot of media and Hollywood, it kind of became like everyone's dream to just go to the US, right? Like without really knowing what that meant.
Right.
And I think deep, deep down, I wasn't sure that I wanted to come to the US. I I was a bit more interested in other countries, especially in Asia, and I
Mhm.
still quite interested in that. But then there was a lot of political unrest around 2015, 16, and 17, and my husband and I decided that it was the safest thing to come to the US because we got to a point where there was tear gas in our home. We couldn't leave the house past 6. And my country is still struggling a lot. And anyways, I think it was more of a situation where home no longer felt like home. And then we
Right.
moved to the United States, came to California. And as Alicia mentioned, I am an educator. I also study languages. So it felt natural to just, find a job where I can educate and support others. So one of my first jobs, even though it wasn't like teaching in a classroom, it was being an interpreter in the medical setting.
Mhm.
And it did require quite a bit of education because I had to pretty much explain in detail certain medical procedures to people that never really had access to translation of what they were receiving. And it was also quite shocking because a lot of people were getting procedures or entering clinical spaces without having an understanding of what they were doing, which
Right.
was quite concerning. So fast forward that that desire or working with my community, my Latino community in that environment led me to do other different works with survivors of trauma and interpreting therapeutic sessions, and then working with foster youth and children in California, and also immigrant and refugees for a while. Later, I moved to Portland where I did more equity based work. But I
Mhm.
like to think that a lot of the work that I've been doing through my life has been equity, and it's not just
Right.
since they gave me the title of equity.
Exactly.
And then after that, I decided that it was time for me to branch out and do my own business, which is called Sosiego. And Sosiego means serenity, it means undisturbed, it means silence, peace, and quiet. So I think there is so much noise going on right now. And after being in the world of equity and sort of healthcare, mental health, wellness, it just kind of came back to me that I really want to support and work with people in having self care tools and also ways of healing. And it kind of was born in a conversation with my therapist because I was in a therapy session and she was asking me all the right questions, and I was doing the work, and then at a point she tells me, "So, Nathalys, what are you going to do to heal?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm here. I thought this is the thing, right? Like
Right.
I'm already in therapy." But she was like, "No, like there has to be some active steps that you take outside of this space to engage in healing." And that's kind of what took me to Sosiego and where I'm at now.
I love it. I love that she told you that too, because a lot of times because we are in a mental health awareness world or stage right now, and I love it, but also therapy doesn't have to be forever. And then you also want to make sure you're getting healed and not just continuing to go through a cycle of, oh, I just need a new therapist. And you're talking about the same things over and over. Like, okay, there's supposed to be a completion at some point. So I appreciate her getting you to that healed state and translating like certain things that we put into our life become habits, and
Mhm.
those habits influence who we are and how we live in this world. But I think it's so important that you discover what works for you and be 10 toes down about that. Like I
Yeah.
got to do my free yoga classes on Fridays. Like I got to take them. You want me to take them. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever it is that you do. People may journal, walk, or do Pilates. Like, let everybody do those things. Thank you all for joining again. Hey, Celeste. I guess she's kind of Latino American too, but for joining on Instagram and the rest of you guys on Facebook. I see you. Thank you so much. We're talking to Nathalys Puerta-Kim. She the one that came over here to marry an American Asian man. So now her last name is Kim. But she's telling her story on how she got here and um, where she is in her business and stuff. And so thank you for telling us how you ended up here. And I remember living in that unrest state and country. We had a time in Caracas, did we not?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And so for you to be here and to actually see you living here, and I remember you saying more so of the Asian countries. I think you were trying to go, where were you going to when we were leaving? When I was leaving, you went to some other country. Where did you go?
Where did I want to go, or where did I go?
Yeah, Indonesia, was that where you wanted to go?
Well, Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, that was it. Yes.
It's still
I
on
know,
me.
but you were like really gun ho about that. So I didn't really think I would see you in America. And then, Abe is kind of like all over the place too. So I'm like, you don't know where in the world Abraham would be. So
Yeah.
shout out to Abe too. He's listening in the other room, I'm sure. So hi, Abe. That's her husband. So yeah, you told us how you ended up here. So in regards to you being a part of this community, what do you think is why you think it's important that we not only recognize this celebration and somewhat of a holiday that they recognize here in America, but it's for all of the other countries who were like free from the bondage that we all have been somehow tied into. So, to you personally, why do you think this is important? Because it's kind of like, people have Cinco de Mayo and they just really just want to go out and get discounted drinks or something. Like, I want people to know more about the culture and why we should be supporting our brothers and sisters within this community and what we can learn about it. So, why is it important to you?
Yeah. I, I'm gonna say a couple things before I land in the main answer. But the first thing is that I think there might sometimes be some misunderstanding with Hispanic Heritage Month, because, like, I personally didn't grow up with that. So, yes, hello, wifey. Hi.
Hi,
Um,
Tia.
but I personally didn't grow up with Hispanic Heritage Month. So when I first heard about it, I was like, "Wait, what is that? Let me Google this. Let me watch some
Right.
YouTube videos." Um, and I do really appreciate the effort, and I really feel like we should have, even in our own countries, like a little bit more celebration of who we
Hmm.
are and our culture, because at least for my own country, I feel like that sometimes has been lost through colonization and a lot of
Hmm.
just people coming in and out of the country. So having this month, to me, it's an opportunity to just be able to acknowledge the different cultures that make up Hispanic community, and also the Latino community. Although I have to say, Brazilians are not Hispanic because they speak Portuguese. So
Right.
it's like things like that. So it's like that's like an important distinction. Yet they're still considered Latinos
Yeah.
because their heritage is Latin America. But I just think it's good to have this reminder for me as a Latina to acknowledge my other Latino fellows, and also to, be able to kind of connect in the challenges of being an immigrant, but
Mhm.
also in the joy that we're here for each other and that we have a lot of similarities. I'm very lucky to live in Pilsen, Chicago, which is the Latino heart of Chicago. So I'm surrounded by all the Latino countries, and I just go outside and speak in Spanish because that's what everybody speaks.
Right.
And it's like the food, the grocery store. It just really feels like I'm at home. So I'm really lucky to have that. And during this month, there have been quite a few celebrations, and it's just really nice to step out. And there is like some parties going on, and my neighbors invited me to taste their food. So to me, it's just like that togetherness and that closeness that when I moved to the United States, I felt like a lot of it was lost. And even
Mhm.
though it was my home, a lot of the times it didn't feel like home because I didn't have my people. I didn't have
Right.
my little cafecito afternoon, my little, gossip and
And the
chit
Serenity
chatting,
down the street. Yeah.
And I remember feeling many times really confused about my need people and my need to wanting to just talk with people and share the struggles and share. And some moments I really talked myself into thinking like, oh, I'm probably just having some horrible anxiety or codependency, blah blah, just labeling all these things. And then I realized, wait a minute, my whole life I have been raised that if something's going on, my family has a family meeting and everybody's
Right.
sitting
Right.
and we're all talking the issue down, and we're all going through all the worst possible scenarios. And
Yeah.
when I left that community. I left
Mhm.
those conversations that are so healing and in some ways like a community therapy almost.
Right.
And moving here and lacking that was like, wow, what is going on? Am I the problem? But it was really important to realize, no, I'm not the problem, this is who we are. And during this month and being able to be close to people reminds me of that, and it's quite healing and fulfilling, at least for me.
Yeah. I think that's like one of the main things that I miss about actually being able to live in Venezuela. Because mi abuela, Candy's mom,
Mhm.
remember? So she basically adopted me,
Mm.
and I was her little project on gaining weight. So she would cook me lunch every day,
Mhm.
and she literally cooked me lunch every day. And we would sit there, and she's actually was actually from Spain, and so she's a little tiny lady, and she's like trying to tell me stuff in Spanish, and I'm telling her it in English. She's like asking me what's this, and I'm like, that was the way I learned. But I felt it made me feel so welcome. Like I had been there for some time, but it's kind of when you're an outsider, especially American. But if you have this beautiful brown skin, you're treated totally different. And
Yeah.
I got to experience that firsthand. Like I could go to the Panaderia or to the mall, right? Like
Mhm.
by myself without any weird people trying to talk to me or anything because they thought I was Venezuelan. Until I opened my mouth, then it was like, what? Your Spanish sounds weird. But I love that. And I think that that helps with so many other, like you said, it's like group therapy because you have so many other things that you can process with because you have a cousin here, a friend here, aunt here, and everybody's your auntie, right? Like everybody's related to you, even if they're not, they are. And
Mhm.
I think that some of those things has trickled down in our cultures, and especially in the Black American culture, we're kind of similar. Like
Mhm.
tonight, we were like, "Are we starting on
Mhm.
American time or are we starting on Venezuelan time?" And we'd be like, "Oh, CP Taco, we are going to be late, but it's kind of a culture thing. It's like you're not really late. Everyone's there, and everyone gets
Yeah.
there. And things get done, but there's no rush. You feel more relaxed, like you're just kind of chill, and that's what I love the most about living there and being around the culture is because you can see we have similarities, but then you also, as you said, see the benefit in talking and being open about things, because now you have more people who, we grew up here in America is kind of independent, like
Mhm.
get your own thing, you don't need anybody, you got to pull it from your own bootstraps, and people don't have to help you, no one owes you anything. And I get that, but it causes you to have a disconnect to community. And so when it's time to pour into the community, you don't really have anything to give, because you're like, I've been doing this all on my own all this time. I don't need anybody, but we really do need each other. And I think that your culture, especially, I say our culture because I done stole it, but I think it's a good example of community and family, um, and the similarities that we all have. What are some similarities you think that we have besides being late? We always have food. That's one. We're gonna have food at everything. Because remember, whenever we go to church, it was always food after. Like
Yeah.
go to a if you go to a black church, like a small enough black church that can still feed everybody, you're gonna get food after. That's the fellowship hall. If
It's
there's something to eat, if you didn't even plan on it, it's like you're gonna get something to eat.
Yeah. So, I mean, I never really thought, um I never really thought myself of being a late person until I moved here. But but then I realized, oh, I'm actually really late. And every time I have parties, I tell people, please come Venezuela in time, because I mean, if I tell you the party starts at 5 and you show up at 5, chances are that I'm still preparing stuff, right?
If
So
Nathalys is hosting it,
yeah,
just come at
just
6
come
and you
late.
won't be irritated.
15, 30 minutes. But then one hilarious thing happened is that I had a birthday party and I told everyone, come Venezuela in time. And they came 1 to 2 hours late. I really thought nobody was coming to the party. This is for my
You
American
tell them
friends.
they trying to stick to what you gave them. You can't change it now.
But anyways, in terms of similarities, I mean, I was very, very grateful. And like, let me make a parenthesis here. When I joined that job we met at,
Mhm.
because you were one of the few people who were really open to have that connection and friendship, just natural and real friendship with a Venezuelan. So I think to me that just kind of spoke of that similarity of just being open to form a new connection. And I felt like we also connected through our faith.
Mhm.
And also I feel like we connected through our struggles too, as women of color, Black women. And I felt like through our relationship I also felt seen of my struggles, because a lot of people think that if you're from Latin America, then everybody's people of color. But it's
Right.
not like saying everyone from the United States comes to Venezuela and they're all people of color. Like it's just not how it works. And like people who look like me and have my hair, they experience very similar or the same
Mhm.
challenges that people here in the United States because of their race and the way they look. So I feel like we were able to connect in some of those struggles and like kind of see each other for who we were. And like to me that was like just like a very eye-opening moment, because till that point I hadn't really met that many people of color from the United States. Most of the
Right. Because we
few
ain't coming over there.
American people,
They
yeah,
can't get in
I
the country.
visited.
They can't
I
get
was
in.
like, oh, there's more like us. Awesome.
I'm like, you know what I went through to get the visa? They couldn't get in the country. That was the problem. But no, it was, and I think that it one of the things when I had the entire robbery and hostage situation, that's when I real like I leaned on the Venezuelan community so much, and I said these people are my family forever. One, because I was the only American on that trip, and then two, when I got back, you and Abraham were like my brother and sister. Y'all literally had to help me out because I had no money, nothing. And then of course it's on Carnival weekend. I'm like, the timing, the banks aren't open for 4 days. Like, and in Venezuela, like when stuff shut down, it's shut down. Like it ain't no random Walmart open. It's like nothing's open. And we have quite the stories. We won't go into those tonight, but we'll do another live about just the Venezuelan stories because there's so many. And y'all be like, oh my gosh, I'm glad y'all made it back to America. We are grateful to be over here right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but that community was so encouraging. And I think that's what motivated me and encouraged me to stay. Because when God was like, you don't have to leave, like I got you. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep the season. I mean, finish the school semester. But, our supervisors and stuff, the principal and stuff, they had asked me, did I want to, like, we will get you out of here. Like, this has never happened before. You shouldn't be living this. So, but I think by the grace of God, as well as with the community, that helped me a lot to stay there. And I felt safe and protected, not only because you and Abraham walked me everywhere, but I had personal security until the summertime after that. But just just feeling like you said before, that someone sees you, someone understands your struggle, and then it's a unique struggle because um it wasn't necessarily like racial, it was just like, this is how bad this country is right now. And like everyone's getting robbed. It's not like if you get robbed, it's like, oh, have you gotten robbed yet? Like, oh, you still have a cell phone? How? Like, like we all had that with the rule, like, don't take your phone out. We all had them little trap phones. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you had to be very careful. It was like a different life. But we do have those similarities. And I think that changes also to you coming here, because I didn't even, I mean, without you just saying it, I'm just now hearing new information to me. So I'm like listening to you about how I was to you. But I think when you came, I wanted to make sure, even though we weren't close, like at first we were in the same state, but then when we both moved to different states, it was like I still wanted to make you. I knew that the transition. I don't know it personally because I'm not an immigrant, but I knew that it's not going to be easy here
Mhm.
in America, especially when you move to certain states and certain cities in those states. And so wanting you to kind of have a support system as best as you can. That's like, oh yeah, welcome to America, and yes, you are black here. And
Mhm.
no
Mhm.
matter what you say or the way you look, whatever, at the end of the day, they're going to put you in this category. And this is how you need to carry yourself. But we as sisters, that's like the whole point of this connection, right? Is that we're sisters, we're connecting together. People have DM'd other people, people have met each other through this live. People have gotten connected professionally, but I want us to mainly get connected as a community and feel like I have a sister, even though she may be a few thousand miles away. I have
Mhm.
a sister that I can reach out to that will understand what I'm going through, and I can feel seen and be heard and understood,
Yeah.
and listened to. So we're in this together, right? Like we're
Yeah.
strong together.
Yeah. And I would add to that point, just kind of like the similarities. Um, One, we always crack a joke no matter how bad it was. Like we
We made
just
it
like
funny.
are able to, to laugh things out, to um feel them, to find a way to, just kind of um find some humor in it, not to be like not to not validate what happened, but as a way of just like helping us move on
And
with
always have music.
yeah, and always have music.
We went dancing regularly. And then when all of this stuff happened for me, you guys took me up there to where was it?
La vela.
The Avila, yeah. And dancing, and to the day, the song is crazy, but I still that song is comforting to me because it was
I
like,
know that song.
we're gonna dance away all of this stuff. We don't know where we're sleeping tonight. We don't have water.
Yeah,
We're gonna dance.
just getting to
So between music, dancing, God, and comedy,
hmm
we survived, and we are still surviving and thriving over here. Can you tell us more about your business and what you're doing with these retreats and things? Because I'm interested.
So, um, sorry, I was like, my mind was in that. Thank you, Delisha. I'm like, we should have more serious conversations.
Right.
I'm loving this. Um, so my business, I provide wellness services grounded in yoga, in the practice of yoga, and also
Mhm.
yoga philosophy. So these are services that, to help you manage stress, improve your sleep, which is a huge issue, especially as you grow in life. And also just for people to have tools to carrying them through their day. And I not only focus on the movement part of yoga. I know a lot of the yoga has been very westernized to
Mhm.
be like an aerobic workout thing, but there are so many aspects of it that are actually very healing and very nurturing. And this is a practice that has been around for over 5,000 years. So
Mhm.
maybe it's for a reason. Maybe like there is something in there, right? So I like to provide very wholesome experiences, from breathing exercises to deep rest and relaxation practices, and also movement. And
Mhm.
know that movement is not necessarily to like, oh, I need to lose weight and move my body.
Yeah.
Actually, movement in yoga is meant to get your body ready to be able to rest deeply, to be
Mhm.
able to meditate, to be able to have times of introspection, times of prayer, right? Because people realize, oh, I cannot pray that long because my body's getting so tired. Okay,
Right.
do some movement and then let me go into that introspective and relaxation state. So that's kind of my approach to the work I'm doing. And I'm obviously growing and adjusting things every day. But within that, I'm offering private sessions. I also offer free practices. So
Mhm.
my stuff is everywhere. I know I have to send the links, but I'm also on YouTube at Sosiego LLC. I have a few videos there, breathing practices to help with self-esteem,
Mhm.
stress, also yoga nidra practices to help with relaxation, insomnia. And I also do free classes every Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time. And these classes have a very particular theme. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I will have a terrible week, and
Mhm.
then it would come with me in the weekend, tend to my interactions, my
Mhm.
ability to care from. I'm just like overthinking the whole week in the
Yeah.
weekend. So I realized we need to do something about this. Like, I don't want to leave every weekend
Yeah.
supposed to be there for my family, my husband, myself, thinking
Mhm.
about all these issues. So these classes are like that space to dump it all and really get you transitioning. And then I also provide workshops for clinics, their clients, organizations, whenever they need it, and I'm able to customize them, and retreats. So I actually having my first retreat in Chicago
Uh-oh.
on January 4th.
Whoop,
And
whoop.
it's going to be a full
When
day
it's
retreat,
cold?
winter
No, go
retreat.
ahead.
It's indoors.
Yeah, I know, because I
Not
know.
like in the lake, by the
The
lake.
Chicago cold is different cold. I don't mess
Yeah.
with Chicago retreat. Just let me know when the summer retreat, if it's gonna be in
Yeah.
Chicago. Let me know.
Yeah. So, anyways, everybody's welcome to come. The information is on my website. So yeah, there's gonna be Lebanese vegetarian food. So I'm partnering with a local organization,
Okay.
and we're also hosting it at the Irish Heritage Center too. So it's a beautiful, kind of like woodsy cabin feel. It's just like all the things, and it's gonna be really focused about creating or preparing yourself for the new year, since it's in January, and kind of clearing up the stuff from the last year and getting yourself, ready, set your intentions and your goals. So
Right. I think it's important. And then also join her free classes on Fridays to end this year better than you started. And then it'll help you go into the new year and be prepared for the retreat. I do want to highlight next week. Let me see, I'll put this up. Here we go. Next week, I have this date is wrong because I was just doing things. But next week I will have Celeste. She will be on here talking about life after domestic violence because this month is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I don't want you guys to miss it. It's a powerful testimony. And so that's why it's entitled Life After Domestic Violence, because you can have victory and thrive after having it. She also has some things, some meditations that she do. So I want you to meet her too. That's a side note, Natalie.
I'm
All like
so
personal things on the side.
Instagram.
Um, but all of these things go tie in together because it's all about sisterhood and connecting and dealing with what we came out of, and not you're not going through anything by yourself. I don't
Mhm.
want anyone to ever feel like that. Even though we may not be near you and can touch you, but we can touch you and in a different way. So reach out, hit us up in your DMs because this is more than just about celebrating. We want to celebrate you, we want to celebrate life. And why not all the time? Also, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So check out your breasts, make sure you're okay. Any type of lump or anything that you feel, get
Mhm.
it checked out and know that you're fine. But
Mhm.
also make sure we do the practical things because I'm all about faith and God can do anything, but also go to the doctor because
Mhm.
sometimes we be like, that's gonna go away. And then by the time you go to the doctor, they're like, why you wait so long?
Yeah.
Or it could be nothing. So that's happened too. So I just want to make sure we do that. So once again, join us next week. That's going to be next Thursday at at 6 p.m. It's going to be a different time and date. So next Thursday at 6 p.m. It'll be earlier. If you can't get on, that's fine. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then you can watch the replay. But we'll be talking about life after domestic violence. So like, share, tell someone. Before we go, Natalie's, I know you're so deep.
Oh no, what you're gonna ask me?
You've been stretching and getting yourself ready for the weekend, so you should be fully free
Mhm.
to pray. So I ask you to pray, and yeah, you can just have a prayer as the Lord leads you. You don't have to do a missionary prayer from revival. Just do a regular prayer because we're over your time. I know you gave us 30 minutes. We took some of your time, but you also was late, so therefore. This out.
It was Venezuelan time.
All right. Okay. Well, anyways, if you could close this out, I appreciate it, Natalie.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, let's pray. Thank you, God, for this opportunity to connect as sisters and to learn from each other.
That's me. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Thank you, God, for this opportunity to connect as sisters and to learn from each other, for the moment of community, for everybody who joined and that made this conversation open up opportunities for each person here to connect to their brothers and sisters from the Hispanic community. May you give them wisdom to learn more about each other and learn that there is a lot more in common that meets the eye. May you also create bridges in the divisions that exist in our community. And I also pray, Lord, that you give us healing and that you give us peace that surpasses all our understanding. Thank you for this conversation and lead us into the weekend with a heart of gratitude and a heart of peace and also a heart of contentment and joy with what is. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I just highlighted you. You was thought you broke the
I thought the
computer.
quote ended.
Like, I did not do that. What happened? It's like, girl, you did not break anything. Just say you're so fine. So, anyway, we're gonna go be with our families because we're
Yeah.
not working all day. We love you guys. Thank you for joining. If you just joined, watch the replay from the beginning so you'll know what we was talking about. Love you much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, here we go.